Welcome to my channel Dadhood, where I talk about everything I've learned as a dad. And in today's video, we're talking about 10 lessons I've learned as a dad in 2020. The first lesson I've learned is that family time is paramount. Now, since we've been in lockdown and I've been working from home, there's been a lot more time to spend with family this year. And not just because, I'm saving time when it comes to my commute, but also there's less time being spent on other activities I would have done outside the home due to things being restricted. And so because of that, I've actually got to know my wife and my kids a lot better this year than I would have previously. And that's because I'm not just spending time with them in the morning before I go to work, in the evening when I get back, but actually I'm seeing them during the day and seeing what they're doing. And that's a whole nother routine, and there's a whole nother dynamic there. And whilst I'm with them, I'm actually able to spend some quality time. So by quality time, I mean actually bonding, having activities of bonding, playing with my son, holding my daughter, speaking to her, reading books to my children, chilling out with my wife, not just kind of staring at a TV or something like that. And the thing that I've actually been enjoying with them quite a lot is, going on walks and just being able to have conversations and being able to talk to each other. And why I find family time to be so paramount, and the main thing I've learned from this, is that I find actually myself being more satisfied with family time than I do doing activities outside of the home. Although those activities like chilling with the boys is very important, and I'll actually come to that in one of my later lessons. On the flip side, however, within this kind of lesson that I've learned, I've also seen that I've not been able to interact with my parents as much due to the restrictions and things like that this year. And that's actually made me realize and learn that I should be putting more effort in before those opportunities are taken away from me. And sometimes we stop ourselves from building relationships with family members, maybe because of some past negative experience. But something that I've learned this year is that actually it's in our hands to sort out and to fix our behavior towards them, and it's not in our hands to fix their behavior towards us. And so as long as we can keep making effort, then that is what is going to kind of drive that building of that relationship and making yourself feel more satisfied. The next lesson that I've learned is make the most of your surroundings. This year, due to the restrictions again, I've spent a lot more time locally than I have maybe traveling to other cities or even going abroad for a holiday. And that's actually made me really appreciate just my local park. I never would have thought that I would have loved having a stroll through the park, and it's actually quite beautiful. I've been kind of taking the wife and the kids every day pretty much to the park just across the road, and again that's another thing I'm so thankful for this year, that I actually live opposite such a beautiful park. And I never really taken the time to explore the different nooks and crannies of this park, but when you make the most of your surroundings and you actually look at where you're walking through, right? You're looking at the trees, you're looking at the different areas of this park. There's so much beauty here to just appreciate, and it makes you realize that actually there's so much in your surroundings that you can make the most of. You don't have to spend so much on a fancy holiday to be able to get that kind of really satisfying experience. That kind of reflection on the beauty of nature has actually made me be more appreciative of time. And what I mean by that is not just kind of the hands on the clock or watching kind of time go by, the night and the day. What I mean by that is, being able to see time actually change with your surroundings, right? So you go to the park every day and you're noticing that the colors of the leaves are changing every day, and the trees are kind of withering away, and the ducks are in a different place this time because it's a different time of the year. Right? So it's actually making you connect more with nature when it comes to that aspect of time as well. The next lesson is a good dad is a healthy dad. I've become so much more conscious this year about my health. Since I've not been going to work, usually when you're on your commute, you're actually getting some sort of exercise in, where you're walking towards a train station, you're going up and down the steps on the platforms, and even whilst you're at work, you might be walking around the office, you might leave work to go down the road, get yourself some lunch. And what I find working at home is, of course, I'm not doing those things. I'm kind of just getting up out of my bed, showering, getting changed, eating, and coming to this desk and working, and then in the evening feeling I'm not going anywhere. I'm just closing my laptop and I'm still at home. And this is kind of building and building where I noticed myself really putting on some weight. And I never really wanted to be that dad, you know, the fat dad, the dad that can't be involved in their children's activities. I really want to make sure that I am fit and healthy so I can be involved in raising my children as much as possible, really involved in the different activities that they want to do. I've never really been too conscious about what I eat and how much exercise I get. I know that junk food isn't good, right? And so I would try and reduce that. And I know that exercise is good for you, so I try and go for a jog here and there. But this year, I've really started to take my health quite seriously. I've got a nutrition plan in place, I've got a fitness plan in place, and I've actually lost quite a lot of weight. Now, along with that lesson, I've also learned that bad eating habits equal bad financial habit. When I'd be commuting to work, I could easily spend, you know, up to £10 a day just grabbing a snack in the morning before I get on the train and grabbing something after work as well, plus the lunch that I would eat while I'm out, not taking a packed lunch with me. And so because of that, I'm eating more than I need to, therefore I'm putting on weight, and also I'm spending unnecessarily as well. So this year I've actually learned the link between those two things. I haven't saved a whole load of money, but I've definitely noticed where there was unnecessary spending is going and where those unnecessary calories are going. And then along with that lesson, I've also learned that as dads we need to put food on the table, literally. With eating out less this year, we've been cooking more at home, and so I've been getting really involved in the cooking process. I've never really been averse to cooking. I can whip up a decent meal, but this year I've kind of really stepped it up and had a lot more time in the kitchen, and I've been experimenting with different types of meals and even desserts, baking a few things as well. And I think this is such an important skill to have. Cooking is actually a life skill, something that as dads we should be doing so that we can literally put food on the table. The next lesson I've learned is that phones are a trap. I still marvel at how phones work. I mean, how does this little device connect to this other little device across the world through some invisible signals, carrying this whole conversation of words and languages and whatnot? It's just crazy. And then on top of that, smartphones now, I mean, compared to the old phones, are basically these mini computers in your pocket. You can be as productive as you want on a phone, this in a very similar way that you could do on a laptop, right? But with all that glory does come some setbacks. When I'm at work, I do kind of keep my notifications on and keep my phone on loud, which makes sense because I'm out of the house, and in case there's an emergency, I can respond to that quite quickly. So logically, if I'm at home, I don't need to be doing that. But yet I find myself still reaching for my phone and picking up my phone and checking my phone when there's no emergency going on. I don't really need to check it. I'm here with my family, and I'm even finding that I'm spending time with my children. I'm sitting with my children. I'm meant to be doing activities with them, but I'm still pulling out my phone. So this year I've really learned that I need to focus on unlearning this habit that I've built with my phone. I've also learned that change brings opportunity. This year, we've all experienced change, whether that be the change to our routine, whether that be the change to technology, or whether that be the change to our favorite supermarket. We've all experienced change. But what I've noticed is that with change actually comes opportunity. Because of having more time on my hands, it's given my mind a bit more of a headspace to start thinking about some of my priorities in life, like my relationships, like my finance, like certain goals that I have. And so that change has actually led to life-changing decisions for me, like my fitness goals, like certain career goals, and like starting this project Dadhood. Another lesson that I've learned this year is that dads need friends too. So now back to the point about chilling with your boys. So as I said, I do actually think it's quite important to have those moments. This year, they've been quite far and few in between. And so this year I've actually learned that I need to make most of those opportunities, because it actually gives dads a break from whatever has been going on in the house, and you can actually talk to somebody about things other than nursery rhymes and baby bottles. And on top of that, this kind of brotherhood and this kind of friendship is a religious obligation too, to make sure you're checking up on your companions, to make sure you're all moving towards in the right direction, moving towards getting closer to Allah. This year I've learned that the fact that we have such a little number of those link-ups happening, I want to make the most of those link-ups when they do happen. The ninth lesson that I've learned is children are sponges. This year, being at home a lot more, I've been able to be around my children, and especially with my son now getting to that sponge stage in his development where he's just able to pick up new phrases, he's just able to pick up new actions really easily, just like that. And I've been able to see that with my own eyes, and I've been able to see him change and develop in that way. Since I've been at home, I'm making a conscious effort to have good habits around him. So for example, I'll read around him, and I've seen that's actually transferred over to him, and he's got a love for reading now. And I would also make sure I'm saying out loud certain words of dhikr like alhamdulillah, mashallah, and inshallah, and he's actually picking up those words and he's saying them. However, being at the sponge stage also means that he is picking up the bad things too. So he's actually wanting to reach for my phone a lot more because he sees me on my phone during the day as well. And the 10th lesson that I've learned, and it actually links to the previous one, which is teaching is more than just a job, it's actually a life skill. A large part of my job is to go out to different settings like schools, universities, community centres to teach those audiences about the work that I do. So for a long time, teaching was just a job to me. But being at home this year and seeing how my son is developing and seeing how he's taking on certain things from me and my wife has actually shown me that teaching is more of a life skill. And actually, we need to be thinking about teaching beyond just it being a day job. We need to think about it in a holistic way, because teaching is how you pass information on. And so if we really wanted to make sure that we're nurturing our next generation as fathers in the best way possible, we need to think about teaching in a holistic way, so that it's more than just about how do we use that to gain an income, but about how do we really nurture the next generation. So guys, thanks for watching this video about the 10 lessons that I've learned in 2020. What type of lessons did you learn? I want to hear them down in the comments below. If you like this video, please give it a like. Subscribe to the Project Dadhood. There'll be a lot more coming out soon. And if you want to find out more content about being a young dad, then follow me on @Shoaib Mohammed on Instagram. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.